Israel is at war. We didn't want this war. It was forced upon us in the most brutal and savage way. But though Israel didn't start this war, Israel will finish it.
Dennis Shanahan is the Australian's national editor. Dennis, new figures revealed in The Australian show that Australia's approved nearly 3,000 visas for 1,500 entrants from Gaza. That exceeds a whole bunch of countries who are similar to us: the United States, the UK, Canada, New Zealand, France. A couple of countries are out in front of us: Belgium and Greece. What's your reaction to those numbers, Dennis?
Well, look, it demonstrates that Australia is a very sympathetic country when it comes to taking people out of war zones. Don't forget that previous Australian governments have taken 12,000 people from Syria. We took people from Afghanistan, a lot of people from Afghanistan, and of course during the Taliban retaking there, we took thousands again. So Australia has a very good record on taking refugees and people from war zones. This point is made by a lot of people that why are we taking so many people when so few nations around the world are doing the same? And there's only a couple, Belgium and Greece, that actually have taken more. And why are not Arab countries taking them? These are fair and reasonable questions. So I think that just the simple numbers shows that Australia is sympathetic on these issues, that the Australian public is prepared to accept thousands, tens of thousands of refugees. But the big question is, why aren't the other countries taking them? And this then brings us to the key issue that we've seen in the last couple of weeks, and that is the security checking and the potential threat from people coming out of Gaza, not everyone obviously, but people coming out of Gaza with Hamas sympathies and who may have been Hamas participants.
We have one of the most generous humanitarian programs in the world, but people go through checks and verifications before they come here. If we have a well-managed migration program, it can work in our country's best interests. And what's happened here, the government has brought people in from a war zone. In some cases, they haven't even done face-to-face interviews, and that is without precedent.
One of the huge challenges, of course, Dennis, in Gaza and probably in any other war zone is untangling people's past, what their allegiances might be. Hamas rules Gaza as a one-party state. It's basically a dictatorship. They haven't had free and fair elections there for many, many years now. So it's hard to imagine, isn't it, how difficult it is to actually establish whether people are Hamas sympathisers and in fact whether that would rule them out.
Well, of course, and this is the point that has been made, that and the Independents and Greens agree with this point, and that is when those 12,000 people were brought out from Syria under the Abbott government and from Afghanistan under the Morrison government, they were first taken to a third country, Jordan, Lebanon, wherever, and the Emirates. And there they were processed and given full security checks using biometric data, US intelligence bases, and information from our Five Eyes partners. This meant that people were not coming direct to Australia and then being able to A, be here and apply for permanent status. And two, it gave us time to be able to look through, because when a regime fails, and that is what's happened in Gaza, whether it be the Nazis in Germany, the Khmer Rouge, the Taliban, or ISIS, people try to get out. That is, people who've been working with the regime try to get out. And they try to get out, and some successfully, amongst the refugees. This is a tried and true method of escaping for people who have been guilty of crimes and may commit others. So what you have to do is make sure that if someone says, I'm Joe Bloggs, he is in fact Joe Bloggs, and he has Joe Bloggs' clean history. That's what the point about going to third countries, and to using biometric data and up-to-date data from our Five Eyes intelligence partners.